there a photo of you somewhere taking a photo during the World Series? But yeah, I definitely, the guys took care of me that were shooting the upper levels, and I was probably blocking their shot, unfortunately, but they definitely took care of me there.
Good old mum. It's what they want for the family photo
I
album,
know.
isn't it?
Yep.
She must be proud. But what about you when you think about sort of where you came, starting out with a job in Miami, covering loads of different things, to this coming to the World Series? A bit of a dream come true over your whole career so far.
Absolutely. You could shoot your whole career and never cover a World Series if your team doesn't go and, the circumstances don't allow, you just may never get the opportunity. I actually woke up the day after Game 6. I had maybe 3 hours of sleep, and I had a notification on my phone from a friend of mine who tagged me in the Sports Illustrated photo. I guess I got the cover shot. I didn't know, and that was the first. So that is a dream come true. I mean, I got very emotional just seeing it, and I still haven't really processed that part of it.
Wow. Yours is quite the story, and even though maybe in your own shots you haven't taken a photo, you haven't got that photo of yourself, people may recognize you because of the fact that you wear headgear during it. How did that come about? Because it sounds like quite a difficult story as to what happened to you back in 2016.
Yeah, so I was shooting a regular season game. It was towards the end of the season, and we had just signed a new player, Jonathan Lucroy, a catcher, who is a right-handed hitter, and I was in the first base photo well. So, his body faces me, whereas when there's a lefty at the plate, you can't see their face or their emotions or, until they swing through. So I usually am more comfortable with a righty in the box when I'm on that side. On a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, he half swung like a check swing. He tried to pull back the bat because he realized it wasn't the pitch he wanted to hit. And unfortunately, the ball ricocheted and it was a foul ball right into our photo pit. I saw it coming, I kind of ducked and tried to turn away, and it got me just like in the base of my skull back here. I was renting a lens from Canon that goes for about $11,000. The last thing I remember seeing was it falling, and the guy next to me, who actually was shooting for Sports Illustrated, underhanded it. He caught it, and then everything went black. And when I came to, I saw Adrian Beltre, one of our players on first base, just looking at me, and I realized, they paused the game, and I was embarrassed. And so I just started yelling, play the game, everything's, and then I realized I had trainers and guys all around me asking if I could hear their voices. And, they were just checking to make sure I was awake and aware and I could hear. They didn't know if it got me in the ear. I think they were concerned about that too. But yeah, it was a scary moment for sure. And they brought me in the training room, and I think I was just so out of it. It wasn't probably for about another 10 minutes or so. All of a sudden it kind of hit me, and I got a little upset and processed what just happened and what could have happened, and how bad it could have been. So then when I came back to shoot, every time I heard the crack of the bat, I was flinching and just like, I couldn't continue shooting. Whereas normally, you shoot through his entire swing and him coming down the baseline, and I couldn't do it. So I went into our equipment manager, Dave Bales, and, I talked to him. I said, hey, can I wear a helmet? Do you have an extra? And he kind of giggled, and I was like, I'm serious. And he felt awful. He said, no, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. We will get you taken care of. So they got me a helmet, and I've been wearing it ever since.
Wow. And, you started this interview talking about all that is going through your mind anyway, what to shoot, whether you're framing the click, 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 click. And then to add on that, of course you'd want to wear a helmet. Of course you'd.
Right.
It's another thing to have to worry about, isn't it, as well?
With like a left-handed hitter, they pull him into the opposite well a lot. I guess, too, the other thing is your focus. You're at such a limited depth of field, so the subject is sharp as a tack, but as soon as the ball comes, 5 feet off of them, it's a white blur, if anything. And you definitely can't follow the ball. Like, we don't see the ball. If the player turns towards you or you see their eyes, something's not good, and you just duck.
Hey, it's meant you've carried on doing it, which is the brilliant thing. It's meant your mum's got that photo of you wearing a helmet
Yes.
in the World Series. The experiences that you've had in your career that you've gone through to get to this point then, Do you think you'll reflect on it and think that the World Series is that going to be your favourite photo? Will your favourite photo come from that moment or from another time?
There's actually a quote from Imogen Cunningham who said something to the effect of, like, my favorite photo is the one I'll take tomorrow. And I'm kind of that way. I feel like, yeah, this is kind of my favorite for now, but then, you have another shoot and then you love the money shot you got from whatever shoot that may be, or event or game. I think right now it's probably that SI cover shot because it got a cover. I don't know that it would have been my favorite take from the whole World Series, but because that was the shot that Sports Illustrated chose, then that's kind of, I guess, the one right now.
And Kelly will be back behind the lens when the 2021 Major League Baseball season begins in April. You're listening to a review of 2020 through the ears of Sports Hour. And many in sport found themselves with time on their hands during the pandemic, with competitions cancelled and training facilities closed. Here on the show, we celebrated those putting their time to good use and helping their local communities. Sam Cox is a British champion boxer and delivered food to NHS workers.
Well, the total for the actual project was over 50,000. I think it's about 51,000, and I probably delivered about a third of them. So we had a big team down at London Irish cooking all the meals up, and then they'd drop them down to us, and some of the players would deliver them as well. And then we'd get them out across to about 14 hospitals across the capital. The NHS staff sort of putting their life on the line and helping all of our families and all of our loved ones to obviously stay well and healthy and hopefully stay alive. And they needed the support. A lot of the cafeterias in the hospitals and stuff like that were shut, so it was sort of them going out to go and have to get food and really putting their life at risk again. So if we could deliver in the meals, it meant that they could obviously just have a quick lunch break, have their food and get back to work, really. So that was the idea behind it.
Sam Cox. Well, feeding those most in need was important too for Olympic boxer Natasha Jonas. She threw in a lesson in the ring with her meal plan.
Obviously, there was a lot of protests when Liverpool went into Tier 3 and the gym shut. Now, we're a family heavily involved in the sports industry and in the gym industry, and obviously people protested and got the gyms back open. And, we wanted to just give something back to the people that stood with us in these times of hardship and need. So my cousin decided that he would make some meal preps, and me and my brother would put on boxing and MMA lessons for people in the local area. Obviously, all free of charge, no criteria. And it was just to encourage kids to get involved, and no cost to the parents at all for kids to get something to do and something to eat. A lot of people, a lot of the kids, have never done it before. Some of them had. Like I say, just getting out the house instead of being at home, and you can't mix with anyone outside your house. School's off at the moment, so there's no mixing with people in school, and it was just a way to get young people together and socialising, as well as doing something healthy and an activity that we made it as fun as possible, that they enjoyed, and we had some lovely feedback and messages from parents, so that was always nice as well.
Natasha Jonas, and before her Sam Cox, just two of the many sports stars helping out during 2020. And they weren't alone. Health systems around the world called upon qualified doctors and nurses to return to the front line in what was described as the biggest health emergency in centuries. And that included those who had taken a break from medicine to pursue their sporting dreams. The Olympic judo champion Paula Pareto put on her scrubs at a hospital in Buenos Aires. The hockey gold medalist from London 2012, Joyce Sumbrook, was on duty in the emergency department in the Netherlands. We heard many of their sometimes harrowing but inspiring stories on the show, and snooker referee Olivier Martil summed up what they were facing as he went back on the wards in Belgium.
The hospital where I work in is really a small hospital with about 250 beds in Veurne, which is really in the corner of Belgium. So when you have the French border and North Sea, and you put two lines, vertical and horizontal, and you cross right in the corner there. So that's where the hospital is. So at the moment it's really quiet. Well, I'm not going to say quiet, but we expected much more in the sense that we are a touristic region. The Belgian coast is a touristic region, so at the moment it's okay. We have our own population, which is around Veurne, and right in the corner you have De Panne and Kokzijde. We still manage to test about 1,300 people for COVID-19, and about, let's say 200 came out positive. So it's not too bad really in our part of the country.
Fingers crossed that it stays down and people do their bit and stay at home. Am I right in thinking that you're normally well, obviously we know you through snooker, but you're a radiologist, so you'd not worked in an A&E situation before?
No, that's right. That's the first for me. I was trained when I finished my studies in 1990. I was trained to be a general nurse, so I could work wherever in the hospital. It was the old system. So I've worked my whole life in radiology. But when COVID-19 came up, normally I was going to be home by, let's say, by the 8th or 9th of April till the 30th or the 1st of May today, because today is a bank holiday in Belgium. I contacted my head nurse and I said, listen, is there anything I can do? Because I won't go to the Crucible. It's cancelled or postponed. And he said, yeah, let me have a look. And he said, well, he came back to me and he said, if you want to help out on the second A&E that the hospital made, especially for COVID-19, I just jumped at it. And I said, yeah, of course, I'm going to help out. Whatever I can do, I'll do.
What was it like early on? There was talk of that you having to improvise things like the personal protection equipment that we've heard so much about.
Yeah, at the start, really, and that was the case in every hospital in Belgium. We were a bit short of protective gears and masks and gloves, but that's been sorted after a few weeks, luckily. But yeah, at the start, we had to be very careful with the means we had. First, to use them and use them carefully. And secondly, because it was not 100% waterproof, let's say, or virus-proof, we had to be careful not to be infected ourselves, yeah.
What were you using at that stage?
We had at the start, we had our normal gear, and then we had just, kind of single use, like, it's not a suit. It's something yellow in Belgium, but it exists in different colors. 2 pairs of gloves, and then normal masks, and then the FP2 masks arrived, but not enough to cover for the triage. And then we had to open a ward, especially for COVID-19 patients. So they use them even more than we do. So yeah, we had to be careful, but at the moment it's much better. In the sense that what we are wearing is much better. It's also single use, but it's like a PPE thing. Now we also, because the FP2 masks are getting rarer and rarer, we are using like a scuba mask that the divers use. Breathing out is quite okay, but breathing in, the air that you're breathing in is filtered, goes through a filter. And the filter, of course, diminishes the speed of the air coming in. So you really have to, make an effort every single time to breathe the air in. I mean, after 8 hours, you're more than glad to take it off.
Snooker must seem like a world away in comparison.
Oh, I always say snooker for me, yes, it's a second job, and it's a hobby that exploded. But I treat it as a job, as I have to, of course. But for me, it's kind of it's always been kind of holiday also, because when my job is done at the table or backstage, then you can have a pint and you can socialize with colleagues or with people coming in to watch the snooker. So it's totally different. It's an up and down of pressure. But here you have to really be on edge from when you come in the morning at 7:30, 7:45, till when you finish at night.
Can you relax, and how do you take your mind off things?
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy to relax, because when you come home, then you always have you've had patients, you have patients with mild symptoms, so that's fine, but you also have patients